Blot. Karen!
Hi, Kate.
Look, everybody. Look who's in front of the camera. Our very own webmaster, or should I say web mistress, Karen Marshall.
I like mistress.
Yes, right. Our Karen. I am so stoked, Care, that you came on, at least for the beginning of our broadcast today.
I was a little nervous, I have to say.
But, you know, this was, when we made these pieces, this was your idea. You're like, I'm going to do a wrap.
Well, actually, you saw the bee.
I did.
And Kate instantly thought of me. She's like, Karen, you have to do something. And me being the difficult one, I was like, okay, well, it can't be a traditional ladder bracelet, so...
We've got to mix it up.
Yeah.
That's right. And so we did. And so you made, this one's called Beekeeper.
Beekeeper.
Mm-hmm. And mine is called Follow Your Arrow.
Because you're the arrow lady.
I know. I like an arrow. I really do. Pardon me. All right, look, everybody's jumping on. That's awesome. Great. Well, we thought, Karen and I thought that we'd start the broadcast out about talking about these wraps, a little bit about the ideas behind them and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity for you guys to get to meet our Karen, who is always working diligently behind the scenes. You know, Care, I was just at, as you know, you're like, yeah, you were gone.
Yeah.
I was at Bead and Button, and so many people came up and talked about how great the website looked and how great the pictures looked. And it's all this lady right here to my right.
That really warms my heart.
Well,
it really
it's
does.
really true.
Yeah.
People were like really, really super stoked. And they just loved. And everyone's saying hello. Look it. There's a hi, Kate and Karen, right there. All right. Yes, it's great to see everybody.
I can see myself here too.
Awesome. Yes. Look, we look.
All over the place.
Look, we look amazing.
Yeah.
So when Karen and I, like we were saying earlier, we were inspired by these brand new nun design pieces, right, that we got in. And they're all on the website. You can find them. You know, Karen, when you put up new product, you put them not only in the category, right, but where else can people find them?
You could find them on Facebook Live that links over to the projects. So if you go to this, I think it's the link on the very top right, go to projects and everything is there.
It's always in there.
It's always in there, yeah.
And if we have new product that accompanies it, they can also go right to our Just In.
Yep, Just In. There's also the projects box on the front homepage. I have it linked everywhere.
Yeah, all roads lead to the new product. So there's new, really beautiful pieces from Nun Design that were just released. And it was these buttons, these arrow buttons. And so I use these arrows. I use them in the copper, but we have them in the antique copper, the antique gold, and the antique silver. Yep. And then they also come in the accompanying charm, right? Yep. And so, Care, you have the bee. The bees are so charming.
So cute.
And so, why did you choose the bees, Care?
Well, I love bees, and I think they're just adorable. Granted, I never want to be stung by one. But when I think of bees, I think instantly my mind goes to black and yellow.
Yeah.
But everyone that knows me knows that black and like metal, that's my safe zone. So I wanted to do something a little different.
Yeah.
These are charms. And, you know, I think of flowers and lively colors, springy colors. So I wanted to do yellow, of course, with like a pop of color.
Yeah.
So you have the gold, you have the teal, the purples, you know, for the flowers. And they're so important to our environment, guys. And beekeepers keeping the bees alive and just...
So that was your little homage to that, how important our bees are.
It's a tangled mess right now.
Well, we'll untangle it. And you used, Kate, take that. You used a surfer cord for this.
Which I love because you can get it wet and...
Yeah.
I'm hard on my jewelry. I need it to wear
really well. And you chose the 1.0.
The 1.0
Lagoon surfer cord. And what I love about this is it's so supple and delicious. I love it.
It moves.
Yeah, it moves really well. And it knots really well. And we're going to go over this, you guys, when we move the camera. You guys will be able to see everything really, really close up. Karen also takes these really amazing, when you go to the projects, if you go to the Beekeeper and the Follow Your Arrow projects, on all of our projects, there's a project map, right?
Project map.
So you can see it all laid out and super up close. But what I also love, so Karen, when she was making this piece, she was like, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to throw in a section from Tahoe.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, just you and Emily both encourage my creativity, and sometimes I want to do something that may not always work, but these two really they really help me make this work. And there's a section where we use crimp covers, and we use it in a way that it's not really meant to be used.
Right, it's kind of an untraditional way. And it's kind of an homage to our Tahoe. And so I saw, and again, we'll show you up really close when we move the camera. So I was like, well, if Karen's going to put in a little Tahoe, I'm going to put in a little Tahoe. I know, but I was all, Karen, what am I doing? This one was a little hard for me to do. I don't know why. Maybe because I felt like I was under the gun for Bead and Button. Yeah. I was like, all I'm thinking about is Bead and Button. So I also did a little bit of kind of
the newer Tahoe.
The newer Tahoe, one of Janice's, Janice, that's kind of one of her signature projects. So we have a brand new bead that I'll show you guys too. This is our Magic Purple Cranberry Lined Crystal 6/0. That's a mouthful.
Beautiful.
But isn't it beautiful? You were the one who told me to order these when we were looking at monthly mixes.
Probably did.
Remember? And Karen's all, get that one. So I didn't use it in the monthly mix, but when I was struggling about what to do, you're like, use this new bead. And I was like,
Just In.
It is. It's in Just In. So that was a stroke of genius. I was going to say a crimp of genius, but that too. So we'll talk about these two kind of ways that we do the Tahoe. I'll let Brendwyn take a photo of that one as she's doing. And then we use some particular interesting techniques for laddering. Karen and I both dig infinity stitch. Right?
It's my go-to.
Right.
I probably won't go back to laddering if I have to, but infinity stitch for me is so fast. It's just back and forth.
And she's a fast ladder. I started my project and I'm all la la la, I'm making my beads, and then I get a couple of sections done, and Karen's all, oh my god, I've got to start my project. So Karen starts and she finishes, and I'm still going la la la, I'm leaving for Bead and Button tomorrow. I better finish this project. So you really take that infinity, and it's like the infinity superhighway for you. So you used a single strand of what thread did you use?
The micro Ceylon in teal.
And then I also used micro Ceylon. But I used also micro. I used it in gray. I did my laddering a little bit differently than you. I think that you used a single thread. I think it's perfect with this surfer cord because the surfer cord's a little lighter, right? And I used the micro Ceylon. I actually used it double because I had the leather. So
the leather holds.
Yeah,
with it.
And it needed a little more, maybe a little more oomph. Don't look too closely. There's some parts of this that aren't great. That I don't know. I was it
looks beautiful.
Well, I was rushing a little bit, but it was a really fun project, and it was a great way. I think where you used. We're going to talk about this portion. You can see Karen used the Padre beads, or kind of our Padre strands, and notice how it's just kind of a meandering. It goes from 2 to 3 down to 2 and back again. I think it gives it a really kind of cool, I don't know, organic feel to it, maybe?
Organic and texture. I kind of followed Janice's lead with this. I kind of just let the bracelet tell me what it wanted to do. So there was no pattern, no rhyme or reason. It was just, if the Padres wanted to have 2 in that row, if it wanted to have 3 in that row, I just kind of went with it.
And some have 4 even?
Yeah, some have 4.
Yeah. And so, again, what are these?
The 3mm crimp covers.
Those 3mm crimp covers. And why did you add those crimp covers there, Karen?
So Myra was saying, Karen, that section just looks plain, and I'm a very decorative person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's true.
So I was thinking, well, what can I do to spruce it up a little bit? And I was just playing around, and I was like, oh, why don't I just add the 3mm crimp covers to the outside, which is actually what I wanted to do initially. I changed this design 3 or 4 times.
At least.
And the crimp covers actually served the purpose.
Served that purpose. So you've used them a couple of times. We've used them here as decorative, and then we've used them here to kind of space this
as a stopper
for the Tahoe. So it's really cool that, and we're going to do a close up.
Yeah,
you guys,
I
don't
did
you
a
worry.
little bit, but
we're going to do that. We're
Okay.
going to do that when we move the camera around when we start to make these pieces. But I wanted to give you a little bit of history, a little bit of backstory on both of these projects, and I wanted you guys to be able to put a lovely face to our lovely Karen.
Thank you.
But it was really fun doing this this kind of mashup or a twin projects or I don't know, whatever we want to call
now
them. It's
I want to
awesome.
come back now.
I know, right? Right? Karen, you can always stay. Karen, you want to stay with us?
I have to get to my photos,
Yeah,
and
you do.
we're working on next week.
Yeah.
So stay
Yeah.
tuned for that, you guys.
Yes, but I'm sure this will not be the last project we see from our
No.
Karen.
No.
So Karen, you're going to slip out and Emily's going to slip in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, you're
it's
the
in
best.
great hands, you
Yes,
guys.
you're the best. And I
Okay.
might holler out if
Bye.
I have questions. Thanks, Karen. All right. Everyone's saying yay, Karen. We love you, Karen. She's
Bye,
she's
everyone.
amazing. That's our Karen. Oh, she's so good. Hey, Emily.
Hi, Kate.
That Karen Marshall's hard act to follow, though. I know.
my God,
I'm
I
like, we're like all. And now
feel
you're
so,
left with us.
I feel so undecorated.
I know.
I
Karen's
do
just
love your
so-
new glasses, though.
Do you?
I have to say, yeah.
Yeah,
I like them a
they're
lot.
not bad, right?
No.
Thanks. I thought it was time for some new frames. So we're almost ready to get into the making of this portion. We'll do a little bit of chit chat. I wanted to just jump in and run while Karen was here and talk a little bit about the project. But of course, as always, welcome to Wednesday Facebook Live with beadshop.com.
Nice to have you back.
It's good to be back.
Flying solo was fun last week, but
It was.
I don't want to do
It
that too
was.
often.
Well, you did a great job. It was such a great project. You did a great. You and Janice, that collab. It was really fantastic.
it was a lot of fun. And Janice, Janice really made it easy.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful.
Yeah, it was great. I'm distracted by our comments. Everyone's now saying hi to you, Emily. Hi, Emily. So we've got, as noted, Janice and I were at Bead and Button last week. It started out
Yeah, and that was the other thing.
with that. What we were at Bead and Button.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
go this
sorry.
year.
Well, next year.
Next year.
We're not doing this again without you, for sure. We started out with the Project Embellish challenge that was put on by Bead and Button, and wow, what an honor it was to be included in that. And for those of you who didn't get to watch it or didn't know about it, Project Embellish was the brainchild of our buddy Brenda Schwader and Eva Sherman, two great teachers. They went to Bead and Button, the powers that be there, and said, wouldn't it be fun to kind of do a challenge with some world-renowned jewelry artists? That's us. So it was really fun. The proceeds went to all of the pieces that were made. We had 3 hours to create a piece each, and we used a secret ingredient. And that secret ingredient that we all used was, every year Bead and Button has a lampworker that creates a lampwork bead.
They were beautiful.
They
looking.
were, yeah. Aja
Really
Vaz
pretty.
was the bead maker for it. And when Janice and I went back to do Beads, Baubles, and Jewels, Aja was on one of the episodes
cool.
doing lamp work. So
Yeah.
it was really cool to see her again. And I'm sorry, Aja, I hope you get to see this broadcast, or a big shout out to you. Your beads was so, so great. I only got to talk to her for a short time.
When they sell that bead every year, just at the show only.
Just at the show only. And the
Yeah.
cool thing about it, and the cool thing about our project, is that all of the proceeds from the lampwork beads go to the breast cancer foundation that they donate to. Bead and Button does a big breast cancer thing every year. So not only do the beads go, but our pieces were all in a silent auction, and then all of those proceeds also benefited the breast cancer research project that they donate to. So we will have more results. I just got an email from Brenda Schwader asking about the results and stuff. So we'll post. Our buddy Julie Sanford, she won the competition with our buddy Francesca Watson coming in a close second. But they all auctioned off, and I think they all sold, so it'll be great to kind of see the results of that. I'm sure they'll be posting like the finished pictures and stuff like that. So we will link all of that as soon as we get that information.
I watched along as much as I could on Saturday, and was it Saturday? Friday?
It was Thursday.
Thursday.
I know what year is it, Emily?
I've been moving.
She's been moving.
And so you know what that's like, right? Living among piles of boxes everywhere. And so while I was packing, wrapping things, I was watching Kate, and I was sweating bullets with you, and I was yelling things at the screen, and I texted her, do you want me to text you something? And
Yeah.
It was,
yeah.
I thought you were robbed, but
Oh, no,
really wanted
well.
to see the rest of
All the pieces, yeah.
Because it's hard when you have a favorite in the race.
Like
to
Justify,
compare.
like the Triple Crown.
Well, you can't
right?
really compare.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
it's
did
true.
want to see all the pieces.
Yeah.
And I noticed that they were filming.
Yeah.
Because a couple times things flipped around, and Janice, there was a guy standing right beside her
Yeah,
filming as
yeah.
well. So I'm hoping that they're going to show
Yeah,
that.
there's a lot of pieces,
for everybody to see.
and there is. You can follow Project Embellish over on Facebook. They have actually
do
a
they?
Facebook page.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I will
so
follow
if you
them.
look up Project Embellish, and you'll see like the other broadcasts and stuff that were there. So it was really fun, and let me tell you this in all seriousness, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, I think.
And yet you were teaching people as you were going along
Well,
and
you
saying,
know what?
take
I
some
couldn't-
pins.
I
And
couldn't help.
And
I
that,
just,
oh,
I
this
don't
is
know.
from, you know, and
I couldn't help
didn't
it.
someone come up and say, where can I get something? And
Yeah,
you were like,
well, right
go
over
down
there.
there and over there. And it was
My
like,
customer service
what?
gene just popped on. I can't help it. I help people.
I was like, focus, Kate, focus.
I know. I couldn't do it. But it was really fun, and I went back through and I read the comments on the video, and a lot of you have sent me messages, and you've sent me messages on Facebook, and let me tell you, I was a winner. No, you like me, you really, really like me. I don't know, but it was cool. It really felt. Janice and I were talking about it as well. It really felt like we were all in one big room together. It was really, really
Well,
cool.
it was impressive
it
to
was
see
fun.
you be able to describe what you were doing at the same time, which
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a level up in difficulty, you know, and
You know.
saying I'm using hard solder, soft solder, medium solder. I need a brick. I need this. I need that.
Right,
and
poor Jill. Jill, I hope you're watching.
She just
was
wandered
awesome.
by
I was
and-
all, here, take this ticket, give me a short chocolate right over there. You go. Who knew? I would just delegate. I don't know who you
That
are.
would have been
but
my job.
Come over here.
Run.
Totally. But you know, Emily, as I do, you have also done a lot of demoing and stuff at trade shows and
Yeah,
bead shows
absolutely.
and things like that. And I think we just naturally, as instructors, and I know Janice feels this way as well, that we naturally fall into a rhythm of talky, showy, sherry kind of. You know, it's like, I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to, demo it, and then we're going to share it out. So it was fun.
I have my four steps. It's tell them, show them, have them, do, show them again.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I always find myself falling into. So I tell you what I'm going to do, show you what I'm going to do,
Right.
have you do it,
Right.
and then show you again.
Again,
You
right.
know?
Wash and repeat.
Right.
Yeah, so true.
That lather, rinse, and repeat thing that I use a lot is kind of funny because it's that on the back of the shampoo bottle that you read, it says, add some shampoo to your hair, lather, rinse, and then repeat. It's like, duh.
Right. Have you ever repeated? I never
No,
washed my hair twice.
wash
I
your hair
washed my hair
twice.
twice.
That's
No
a way
way.
to sell you more
That's
shampoo.
right.
But the more you do of something, the better it always gets.
Yeah,
and
it's really
you
true.
watch Kate or frankly any of those ladies who were with you in that group.
Such talent in that group.
Any of those metalsmiths, they will tell you that the thing they defaulted to was something that they knew they could accomplish.
Yeah.
And that's okay because you have to start someplace. You can't say, well, I'm just going to reinvent the wheel here today and teach myself how to do this in 3 hours.
Yeah.
But it's impressive to see what comes naturally now that you've done it so many times.
Yeah, my hands just knew what to do.
Yeah.
No, it was really fun. And I also really, really want to shout out, filming that. Janice filmed that thing for that video is like 3 hours and
That's
3
amazing.
minutes long. Janice was a machine.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't know, Martin Scorsese. Janice was. She was like in there composing the shot and doing this and like overhead and
talking to
people, giving someone the side eye who was trying to take her chair. I mean, it was all amazing. So yeah, she just Martin Scorsese the heck out of that thing.
And Martin Scorsese's got some competition.
He does. It was almost as riveting as a Scorsese movie, I think. Anyways.
She's saying stop it, but I think that means more and more.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was fun. It all went by in a flash, and it was great. Well, speaking of going by in a flash, our time together is going to go by, so we should get started on these projects. So let's go ahead and move this camera around. We're kind of moving things around a little bit. We're still experimenting with camera angles, so let's scoot this camera.
Magic.
And we're going to do this thing, whoops, like this here. And we're going to do this, and where's our little, oh, it's the basket's
You
next
have
to
it.
me. I have it. And let's just go ahead and bring that over. And we're going to bring, do you want to get the little stand there, Em?
Sure.
Perfect.
Tripod.
We'll pass that over. Great. And I'm going to hold it there, and We're just going to move this around real quick, you guys, and we'll be in business.
Well, your mom says it was longer than the 10 Commandments.
That's hilarious. Oh, Moses, yes, Ann Baxter, right? Oh,
God, that is Ann Baxter, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
And the book, did you want that?
Did we have the book before?
We didn't.
No.
We gave it up.
Whoops, my picture, we gave it up. Yeah, I think it's just this. This will be fine. You wanna, how are we looking there?
I'm going to kind of keep my hand on this.
Okay.
'Cause I'm
Yeah,
a
this is okay.
slippery
And
slide and
then
it's
I'll
gonna
be
come
working
off.
in here. We'll be doing this. All right. I think this will be good. And hey, Cara, I have a quick question for you. Will you get the results from last week's winners? I don't need them yet. Just at the end. And we'll show that. Okay. Let's get things started. And so, Bran, you want to, maybe if we can tighten in just a little bit, maybe?
I was going to see where your hands were.
Right.
Brought 'em
I don't
in.
know. Maybe here. We'll see. We'll see. I've got a messy table already, right? I'm no longer being clean. And also, it looks like you guys have a question about the Project Embellish. The video, Karen's making a playlist. There's a playlist on Facebook for the Project Embellish Challenge. You can rewatch the video there. Karen's also uploading them to our YouTube channel also. So you'll be able to... What's that, Karen? She is on it today. So she's... that will also be on the YouTube. But you can watch it again and again. It has had so many views, so I guess you guys really dug it. So it was fun. It was really fun to do. So here is Karen's piece. And again, you guys, you can find this.
Looks like it's already up on Project Embellish.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And
Or beadshop.com.
yeah, on beadshop.com.
Okay,
we
great.
put it there. Yep, it's
Good.
on the playlist.
Good.
So I'm going to lay this out real quick so you guys can kind of see it. Like we mentioned at the top of the broadcast with Karen, you can go straight to beadshop.com and you can find all of our projects right on there. And they have all of the materials lists, everything you need to create the piece. So I wanted to pull out Karen's first because I really love the simplicity of Karen's. If you look, Karen has achieved a lot of visual excitement with just a few beads, okay? And of course what I did was I had beads all over the place. So what a surprise there. So what Karen used is, and I really like what she's done here, and we're using, again, all of these new Nun Design pieces. Whoops, I just hit the camera. Sorry about that.
You know, one of the things I liked about Karen's, too, was the light and the dark and the blend.
I did too.
You know?
I really did too. And I loved the way she laddered these organically, these Padre beads.
Well, Padres are
Stroke of
my
genius.
spirit animal.
Yeah, they really are beautiful. And so Karen used these rondelles, and it's the 5mm check rondelles, and she used 2 strands. She used one for this top, and then she kind of bookended things. So she went on the top and used the rondelles, and then on the bottom and used the rondelles. Then in between, she also kind of ended. She went into this kind of Tahoe section, then the section with the Padres, a Tahoe repeat, and then she threw in something that was kind of a little, kind of also had a wide stack to it, which are these fairly new to us, these wampum, the multi-lavender mix in the wampum. And the cool thing about those, pardon my reach as I reach across, but you can see they have nice big holes in them, and they're great. They were really good. So, and Janice has mentioned, she said, she loves how Karen has the gold integrated into her designs. She can always tell when she's looking at a Karen. And it's really true. Karen has made some really cool projects on our site, especially Prairie is one of her favorites. She's done a few of the prairies, stuff like that. So Karen definitely has a signature look. The new Nun we used these beads. The B comes not only in a button, but it comes in a charm as well that looks like that. And then we also have a new, Karen didn't use them in her piece, but I used them in mine. These little flat, organic flat circle beads. And you could throw some of these on there as well if you wanted to also. And we thought they matched up really well with these Tiara Cast textured tubes, so we've kind of mixed it up in here. And what Karen did versus what I did, let me move my piece in here so I think you guys will be able to see this maybe if I scoot it over. Nunn also has, and it looks like Becky Nunn has just joined us of Nunn Designs. Hey Becky Nunn, we love your new stuff.
Hi, Becky.
We also have, and maybe Cara, the new pendant that we also have from Nunn. I didn't use it in here, but maybe we want to show it just because it's such a cool thing. I used the arrow ones of this. Let me get it up here so you guys can kind of see it. And I also used the new pendants. I used the arrow. And then remember these mini hoops back from when we did Message in a Bottle, I think we did that. These mini hoops. I wanted to use the mini hoops in the design as well. So, pardon me. So I mixed everything up, and I also mixed in, I mixed my metals, so that's kind of a signature Kate move, where I had the hammered tube in the antique brass, and then I used the hoop here, and then I used at the end, and you can see what Karen used at the end. Karen used the wampum with the crimp covers. Oh, thanks, Cara. Those are perfect. With the crimp covers, and then I use that flat textured circle on the end there. So I think they look, they both make great little closures. And then you can see Karen used, just like we did in the Tahoes, you use the Evolve, right? No, Transitions to do those. Do you want to add something, Karen?
No.
Okay, Karen can't stay away. She just wants to come on.
Right,
she's all, I want to make sure you're doing this justice, lady. But Karen used the transitions to make the transitions. I used a bunch of random things, of course. I relied heavily on some macrame and the silk wrap. And you can see underneath this one, I've got it silk wrapped with regular Ceylon. And then that harkens back to my Tahoe section here where I've silk wrapped. And then there's another silk wrap section, and that section holds my charm. I put my charm kind of in the middle of where my wraps were going, and Karen put her charm on the end. So it's kind of cool to have these two chunky kind of pieces. You could also switch up the colors.
You can have one of each. You can have an arrow and a bead.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we also have, I have them in my hand, Cara handed them to me. We also have the new Becky Nunn, this is the pendant, the hammered pendant that goes with it. And look at how cool, I just want to make a summer necklace. That's what I want to do. Look at how beautiful that is on the gray that I use for the wrap.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that good? And you could use, I don't know, you could make a tricolor even if you wanted, because it's all about mixed metals. So it comes in the silver, the antique silver, antique copper, and antique gold. Isn't that cool? I just love them. Look how cool all three look. They're so good.
You could throw a knot in between those, a bead or two.
They're so good, and they're chunky monkey. They're really good.
They've got some good weight to them.
Yeah, they really do. The weight. They're good. They're really good. So Becky, we just love them. So let's talk a little bit about how this piece is constructed. Now, we have so much learning on laddering, okay, that I'm just going to go over the highlights of the piece. But do remember that when you attempt one of these designs, as we're doing this on video, you also want to go ahead and check out our tricks to laddering. We also have our Infinity Stitch Skill Builder. We have our Macrame Skill Builder. And then the Wednesday, we're here on Wednesday. The Monday after the Wednesday broadcast, Drea takes care of the episode notes. So there'll be more how-tos and tips and tricks and stuff.
Well, and the episode notes are kind of the boil it down part.
Yeah. And all with minute markers and stuff like that. Drea really, really does a great job with those. And it looks like Tammy's asking, can you stamp on the pendants? I would stamp on this. I think so. Yeah, I think they'd be fine. The ones that you'd probably maybe stamp through, like,
Becky said yes.
and Becky says yes, great. Yep, I think you'll do great.
You know, it would be kind of fun to do on these is to wear them, have them like this, and stamp on the sides because the sides are nice and thick.
They are.
And then you could have like a little secret message sort of on the sides.
It'd be really cute.
You know, I mean, I think it's nice to have lots of stamped jewelry, but sometimes you want to be a little more subtle, you know, or you want to give it to someone who's got that little bit of a subtle nature to it.
Yeah, and these little beads would also be great to stamp on as well. Just a tiny initial. I know. Get on my head. Little star. Emily Miller.
Some little dots.
Really cute.
What else?
Yes. I don't know. What? So, I don't know. What were you going to say?
We could do dimpling pliers.
Yeah,
on those,
the dimpling pliers would be fun.
Yep.
You could just texture them too with your regular hammer.
We could do a little
It'd be pretty
Tina's.
cool. Yeah, they're really nice. Yes. So good job on those. They're really, really gorgeous. Okay, so let me pull in. I want to start with my piece, and then we're going to end up with some of the particulars of Karen's. So I'm going to hand this over to you.
I need to do a little studying because
Emily.
Last week with all the laddering that we did, we didn't really do much infinity. We didn't do any infinity. And I am not as practiced at infinity. I heard Karen saying earlier that she was now all infinity all the time.
All the time.
And
it's really true.
I've really liked laddering. You know, it has a little bit of a feel of a right angle weave stitching.
It does. It's a stitching. It's really a stitching project.
So it's very familiar to me, whereas the infinity is a little more particular. I do like that it's a little lighter weight in a sense, a little thinner, a little finer, a little less chunky. This and the surfer cord too is the other thing I've got to get into.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love it.
I love the hand of it. Ginger just asked how big the holes of the pieces are. We have these pendants on a 1.5 millimeter leather, and they fit perfectly. So the holes probably are about a 2 millimeter,
That's
I think.
what Becky said.
Oh, great! Thank you, Becky Nunn.
Yeah.
And they fit perfectly on the 1.5 millimeter leather.
Gosh, you could almost knot this off like a little loop.
Or silk wrap it above.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
have a different little, you know, get a little permanent flair to it.
Yeah,
so you can have a little.
I just love those pendants. I love them, love them. Okay, so you can see I've got the board here in front of me, and I'm going to just show some of these kind of little sections here. I want to start out with this macrame section. You know, at the Bead and Button Show, Janice and I whipped it up with color study for our classes. And this macrame really is kind of a, I don't know, it's a real go-to for us with the color study and with many of our projects. And I thought when I was designing this piece, I had no idea what I was going to do, right? So it really, I said, you know what, I'm just going to start out with one of my favorite things to do, which is this macrame. And so I macramed over using the regular seal-on, and you can either offset your seed beads where one is high and one is low, so it's kind of like a zigzag, right? Or you can do them side by side like this.
So the offset comes from, does the offset come from having a completed pair of stitches?
So the offset is when you just add beads from one side on one strand, and then just on the one strand, and it goes back and forth. The two, I have beads on both strands.
And Brandon has a quick input.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, you're right at the top.
Right at the
there,
top?
so you
Okay,
can't
great.
go much.
Okay, thanks, Fran. So what I like about this, it really opens up that join so that the gray leather really becomes a part of the design.
I really like that too, where you can sort of see it what's underneath, and it's a subtle connection, but I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. And this could, like any ladder bracelet, you guys, you don't have to do multiple wrap. It could just be one, right? So I'm going to show you real quickly how this goes together, because we've done this several times, but I do want you to see it. So you can see I've used a clamper, one of our clampers, and I have come in, I've cut just a piece of scrap seal-on, put it around the button so the button is facing down, my little arrows are facing down, and I'm working on the short side of the board, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to clip that nice and tight so this is connected to the board, okay? Then, to attach it to the other side, I'm going to get another piece of scrap Ceylon, and I'm just gonna, I've tied a little knot here, and I'm just gonna kind of loop that Ceylon through, and you can see I'm gonna come in, and I know I have a clamp here somewhere. I'm gonna clamp this down. Okay, and so this is ready for macrame. One thing that Janice likes to do sometimes is work with a little spool of thread underneath. You could also get yourself a little PVC pipe or something like that.
That was a game changer
Yeah,
for me.
it really is, lifting off the board.
Yep, getting
right?
that little bit of space made all the difference in the world.
So this closure here, or this right up at the button, I just started macrame.
So did you loop through the shank of the button?
No, I didn't, but
Okay.
Janice has done
Yeah,
in the past. You could. I'm just going to start macrameing just here. So I'm going to leave, as we like to say, a little bit of air there, and I'm
for the
going to
button
tie. I'm going to tie my first macrame knot. Okay, so I'm going to come underneath, and whoops, try and get all of this other stuff out of the way. Now, the basic macrame is essentially a set of half-hitch knots going one direction and then the other. So just to start, as you've seen me do, I'm going to make a loop. And see, I'm right-handed, so the loop is facing towards my right hand. And if I follow this little circle and follow my leather down, it looks like the letter P. Okay? So I'm going to, with the opposite tail, this top tail, I'm going to go over the cord, under the leather, and up and out through the loop. Okay? And tighten my knot. This first one is going to tell you how much room you're leaving on the button shank. So I'm just going to give myself enough little air right there. Okay? Then, I'm sorry you guys, my arm is kind of in the way there, so I want to, maybe I can get it over a little bit more, or I don't know. We'll work with this.
Want me to try and come up with this just on...
Yeah, I don't know.
Steadicam?
How's that? Can you, how are we doing with that?
That's not very,
Is it in? Can you flip it round real quick
yeah.
so we can see where we are? Okay, so a little bit back, Em, a little bit back. Yeah, perfect. How's that? Great. Okay. How's that? Okay, and then I'm going to come around and I'm going to do this. Sorry, you guys, that's my bad. Hello? No, just kidding. Let me turn that off. I always tell everybody to silence their phones, and what do I get? Okay, so here's my Q side, right? So I'm going to go, this looks like a little Q, around, over the leather, and I'm coming down, over the thread, under the leather, and up through the loop.
So Brandon's telling me this is a bit shaky.
Shaky?
Shaky. I'm not going to continue with that.
Okay, we'll have you move.
Yeah.
Move down.
As much as I wanted that
Okay.
to work,
There we go.
it wasn't going
Okay.
to. You know, if you go out a little bit, can I come up
Here,
with this
I'm
a
just
little
gonna
bit?
I'm just gonna turn here so everybody I think can see. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. So I'm gonna do this again. Okay.
Wait for Brandon. Let's make sure.
I'm just, mostly what you're seeing is your hand.
Okay. Well, here's this guy with my P right here. Made the P over the thread, under the leather, and through the loop. How about this way above me?
How about that? That helps them.
And tighten. Okay, now I'm going to do the Q side. Over the cord, under the leather, and up through the loop. And you want to just continue. There's the loop over the leather. So over the cord, under the leather, and through the loop.
What do you think, Brandon?
And we'll go over here.
It's working.
Okay.
Okay.
We are getting a lot of hand, but when you pull the hand out, you can see it pretty well.
Okay.
Okay. So now I've got my macrame piece, and I'll let you get really close in there, Bran, so you can see, so everybody can see that little portion of macrame. Okay. And if I go away and come back and macrame, or I go answer the phone or whatever it is, I can come back, and can you see how there's a little scallop right here? on the knot right there.
Where it's going over the other
Where it's
cord.
going over the other cord. That's the part where I start, okay? Or where I pick up to where I've left off. So that's where I make my loop. So see, I make my loop, I come over the thread, under the leather, and out through that loop, and then you tighten up, okay? So that's it. Now, to add beads, and I'm just going to do a few of these beads, and I've got my 8 millimeters, and I'm just going to string my 8 millimeters on there, okay? And I'm not going to do too many because we can move on to our next section. I could add a little of the Zap glue to this to stiffen it up if I
Right.
wanted for
Yep.
better stringing.
I'm kind of loving that. You know, I
That
didn't.
Zap tip,
It's
yeah.
right up the head of you there
Yep.
by your mug.
I'm gonna get this too. And the Zap is really cool. And I'm gonna use this again as well, so I'll show you how to do that in a second. But the you could also use your collapsible eye needle here. You could, these 8/0 have such a big hole that you can put on this collapsible eye and see how that regular seal-on just goes through there.
Yep.
And see how it just kind of holds in that little loopy loop. Then it makes it a lot faster for me to just put these beads on, so I'm just going to do a few, pull them on just like that. Then I'm going to use, as Emily likes to use, a little bit of a stopper bead so that things don't come off. So I'm going to hold it there, pull it around,
Stopper beads are the best.
and pull it through. And so that's going to keep the rest of my beads from falling off. Now I'm going to take the needle off of this side, and I put 2, 4, 6. So I'm going to do the same on the other. Usually for this length, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I did 16 beads on the one that's on the bracelet. But you can make the stitches on these as close together or as far apart as you want to. It's all you. There's 4. And here's 2 more. But this collapsible eye is great because you can see how it really holds that thread in there.
It's a little bit bigger than the flexible eye.
Flexible eye, right.
Which is, so it's not as good in some cases, but if you're stringing regular beads, any kind of beads on, and they're fitting on the regular seal-on, this is the go-to needle.
Yeah, because it hangs onto that seal-on so it doesn't keep falling out, you know?
Yeah.
Let me do this one stopper bead, and I just go back through. You can see the bead itself, and I pull that down. All right, so now I'm going to pull these beads up for the macrame stitch, okay? So let's have these beads go up. You can see that there. And I'm just going to tie my macrame knot. Now, which side do I start on? That side has a little scallop, so that's going to be the side with the P. And keep those little beads up at the top and then just forget about them, okay? And I'm going to go over the thread, under the leather, and up through that loop. Now, I just tighten it up. And see how those little beads make that space? And that shows my leather. Now, I don't know, do kind of an even count of your stitches. And this little stitch likes to loosen up, so I'm going to tighten it up there. And you can do, I don't know how many you want, 4 or something, right? Whatever looks right to you.
You know, we had a little bit of chat last week about beeswax on unusual materials, and this might be a place where a little beeswax would actually help you hold your knot a little
The
tighter.
stitches, yeah, it could. I have a tendency to be like a heavy waxer. So I've been playing around with wax on leather. And we were doing a lot of waxing on these on our color study. I was waxing the thread a lot. but a little wax never hurt anything. Okay, so let me do a few more here. This one and this one. And then you'll just continue on down, you guys, until you have created, you know, your piece, right? So we'll do that there. I'll put one more section with the beads. Slide them up. My scallop's on this side, so that's where I start my macrame knot. I make my loop over the thread, under the leather, and through the loop, and tighten. And then just continue on with however many stitches you made. Again, those beads want to make that knot open a little bit, so tighten it up, and then immediately tie your other knot below it. Okay? And that's really all she wrote with this beaded macrame. A really great beaded macrame project, of course, is our Bollywood
And Lynn
project.
Carling, this is wine.
Yeah, it's
Ceylon.
wine Ceylon, yeah.
Yep.
The wine Ceylon that I'm using there. Okay. Yeah, I think Janice put that in the chat. There we go. And you can see here, see how my little closers, my little stopper beads are keeping my beads on here. Okay. So that's it. Then you can see you just keep on going, keep going, keep going, keep going, and as far as you want it. And this is my first wrap. So for me, this comes out to be about maybe 6.5 inches or so, I think. Let me measure here real quick. About 6 inches is my first section. Okay. So, let's look at our next tip for this project. I want to show you guys how I do this Tahoe section that I have going on here. Okay?
Isn't it cool how that can keep coming back to us in different iterations?
In different iterations,
yeah,
for
I
sure.
really like that Tahoe.
I'm going to get rid of this
the
one.
idea of having strands that continue or that disappear. Karen's has got it where the strands actually disappear. The ones in the middle don't continue, right?
Right. So she's done this strand here and this strand here, and then we've added that center section here. It's the same thing with mine.
Yeah.
So what we've got here is this transition. You can see from this laddered portion, I've got the melons, and can you see how I use the 3mm melons? And I chose this little tirahishi that doesn't have much width to it, so I did 2 of the melons and then a row of the melons with the hishi, and I went back and forth through those. Had I used the hishi in every row, the hishi would have butted up against each other and it wouldn't have looked as good.
So
I alternated.
it's very subtle, and having the no hishi here means these have enough air or enough room to really exist in that
really
spot.
move, yeah.
If you had hishi all in that place, it would actually bump up and
Right.
kind of pop out.
Right, and not look as good, I
Right.
think. So you can see these 3mm melons are perfect for laddering. I just love them, love them, love them. So I think it looks great. And then here, the way I started, this was the section after my macrame. The macrame, you see, I kind of built it up by getting to the tile bead, but with 1, then 2, then the tiles, and then I thought I really liked the way that these 8mm gave a little air to this design, so I went every 3
Isn't
and
that
came
sort of
in with these
a little
8
bit of
mils.
a problem with the check tiles too? That if you have nothing but those, they're a little bit. You have to space them a little more carefully.
No, actually not really, because
Okay.
they're kind of rounded. Can you see
Right.
how the corners and stuff are kind of
So
rounded?
they have a little bit of air on their
so
own.
you could do it, I think, without these, but I like kind of I love this. Second to my love of shadows, I love this 8mm metal seed beads. I love them so much. Then I stopped, and that's when I did a silk wrap to bring everything together. This silk wrap, you guys, not only does it serve a decorative purpose, but it also helps me when I transitioned from my macrame to the laddering, and I'm going to end up in showing you the laddering as well. When I transitioned from the macrame to the laddering, I macramed, and I started my thread. I hid my thread underneath there for the laddering portion. So before I finished macrameing, I laid my thread there, and I macrameed over the top.
Right.
Okay. And then to finish that up, we did it like we did with Ali Mori's piece, and I'll show you how I finish off that macrame. Okay. So let's keep going here because we've got to get all of this learning in. So just bear with me here, you guys. We're going to go here to this section that has the 3. I've added now. I've got the 1.5 millimeter on the outsides, and I've got the 1 millimeter here on the inside. So if we were doing this on our long bracelet, we'd just come in, I'd kind of taper this down, then I'd cut a length of cord, and I'll be honest, my cord was too short the first time I did it.
Oopsie.
So down here, I'll tell you a little secret.
Busted.
See how I ended the cord and then I had to silk wrap another cord in.
How fun.
So this is where I fixed my mistake. So I would give yourself at least maybe 2 inches longer than
Each
you
end?
needed. Yeah, so
Okay.
that you have enough. And that length, I think, do I still have the tape measure over
here.
here? Oh, right here. I'm going to give you a length here. And this one's about 7.5 inches. So I would cut yourself at least 10 inches of leather for this section so you have enough.
Well, and this is nice. You can use a smaller leather here
Yeah.
that'll fit on beads with smaller holes.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I used that 1 millimeter. Because when I was flailing around trying to figure out what the heck I was doing, Karen's like, use those new magic purple cranberry lined crystal. And I'm like, well, it doesn't fit on the 1.5 millimeter. She said, just put in a 1 millimeter in the middle. I was like, all right.
Okay.
Okay, genius. That's a good one. Good one. So, so what I did here is I've used one of our clampers, and you can see I've clamped it all together, and I'm going to start, you guys, with a silk wrap. Okay? And if you're afraid of the clamper kind of marking your leather, though it hasn't been on here very long, I could use just a baggie to clamp it like that so it doesn't damage my leather.
I love the
Okay.
little clamps. They're
I
the
do
best.
too. They were
Good call.
You discovered those for us. So I'm going to cut a length of, and again, we've silk wrapped a million times, so I'm going to go over this a little bit more, a little bit faster, and you can go over it a little bit more with the handout. But essentially, I've cut a piece of Ceylon, maybe about 12 inches, though that's a lot of Ceylon. And I'm just going to come in and I'm going to make a loop with the short end here, right? I'm going to line this up loop to loop, okay? And I'm going to grab maybe about 3/4 of the way down, of an inch down from the button.
Your hand on this.
Sorry.
It's really hard to...
There we go. I'm going to grab about 3/4 of an inch down from the loop of the button. And now I'm going to wrap, okay? So I'm going to wrap this long end around the short end, around the loop here. Can you see that? The loop, all of that stuff. We're going to wrap all that together. So I get my long
Should we
end.
take the baggie out? It's just
Is it
another layer of
distracting? Sure.
distraction, I think.
Get rid of all that.
Right.
Get rid of the clamp and everything. I can do it without. So I'm going to do my first wrap. I'm going to come in. I'll wrap it, and then I'll show you what I've done. So see, I've made that first initial wrap. Can you see that?
Now, when you wrap, do you like to have the leathers all kind of
I
bundle
do,
up together?
and you naturally just wanted to fix that, right?
Right.
Line it up so that center one was center.
Right.
That's exactly what you want to do. Okay? So see how the bigger ones are on the outside and the thin one is on the inside.
Because nobody has enough hands for this,
No.
so we're going to help each other out.
Now I'm going to switch hands. And I'm going to hold that with my right hand, and you can see what I'm doing above. So I'm going to keep wrapping. My silk wrap has started a little low, but you know what? It's okay. My silk wrap will be a little bit longer. See how I'm laying one wrap in above the other? One above the other. One above the other. Until I've decided that I'm done. And I'm almost done. Almost done. Here. Wrap, wrap, wrap. And I'm going to call that good. This loop's a little big, but I'm just going to go with what I've got. See how big my silk wrap, how long my silk wrap is? But that's
beautiful.
okay. It's nice. It adds, I think, a lot of visual interest. Now what I'm going to do is, I want to bring it around one more time.
I also kind of feel like these multi-wrap bracelets are a little bit daunting for the amount of time. You know, the process is not so hard, but it takes a long time to make them if you're just laddering.
And just starting out to kind of
Yeah.
figure out what's going on.
I
right?
like having these little sort of spacers in between each section. It makes things move along a little bit more quickly.
That's for sure. The longer your silk wrap, the fewer beads you have to do, right? So there's my loop, and see, you guys, I'm just taking the end of that seal-on through the loop. I'm switching hands from my right to my left, holding that in place, and see how I'm pulling on this with my right hand, pulling down, snug that up a little bit, and watch how that thread, that loop, is catching the thread that I wrapped with and pulls it inside the wrap. I need to cover it with my finger for just a second so I can feel where it goes. But I felt that slide in there, and I'm going to move my hands and get this right up to the camera so you guys can see. I also pull on both strands like this to tighten everything up a bit, and you'll be able to see, I think, that right in here, that knot has just been captured, right? And so this I can cut away, this I can cut away, and this I can very carefully cut away, because God forbid we'd clip any of our leathers. That would all end in tears. So let's
start again.
Right, we'd start again. Exactly. Okay. So I'm just going to start, and no glue. I don't use any glue on this. You don't need to, because the knot is securely captured underneath that wrap. So let me use my thread snips. I'm going to come in.
So, you know, I learned how to do this particular stitch when I was in high school.
And clip.
And we were learning about how to splice ropes
Yeah.
in my Future Farmers of America
That's
class.
right, country girl.
And this was called whip stitching. And a lot of times on boats and things, when they want to end a thread, a rope, a line,
Right,
without
it's
it
a sailor's
unraveling.
knot. Yep, that's how you
sailors would use
splice
the
it
same
together.
way.
Yeah. I love it. I love this knot. It's one of the first things I learned when I worked at our brick and mortar store, and I've used this silk wrapping ever since. So you can see now this is all set up, and look I've got my three ready to rock and roll. So now, you guys, all I do, and you can see in the center, all I did, 3 of the 6/0, 1 textured tube, 3 more of the 6/0. So let me do it. 3, and you can do anything, right? It doesn't matter. Whatevs. 3 of those, 1 of these, and 3 more of those. And then I just silk wrap again, right? And these 6/0 fit on this 1mm leather just perfectly.
Business, huh?
And these cranberry lined, these are actually dichroic glass, Emily, on the inside, right?
Yep.
They're so,
So they really have a beautiful
Janice was just talking about that.
color.
kind of vibrance to them, right?
Yeah, and they really are. It's like a glass paperweight. When
Yeah.
you see a glass paperweight with all the colors on the
They're
inside,
so gorgeous.
that clear layer on the outside really magnifies it, and yeah, they're beautiful.
They really do nicely. So then when I decide about what I'm going to do here, about how much length I'm going to use, I just want to make sure, or how much length I'm going to leave, I just want to make sure that everything is moving pretty nicely. Then I'm going to kind of pull it tight, not too tight because I want it to bow out a little bit, and then I'm going to place another silk wrap right there, which I'm going to do as quick can be.
Lynn Carling just had a really cool comment. She will take a Sharpie pen, same colors of leather, and color the ends of the cut leather.
I do that too.
I've never done that. I like that idea, though.
I do that too.
Really?
Yeah, especially with black leather.
Yeah.
Because the interior of the black leather is always that natural color, and I just don't like seeing it. So, yeah, it's a great tip. So, to do this other one,
Next silk wrap.
next silk wrap, see how I just kind of lay my leathers all together there, and I'm going to just start my wrap. I don't know, kind of futz around with it a little bit, but start my wrap maybe here. I don't know, don't sweat this too much, you guys. Seriously. Just kind of, each of these sections, I'll measure them for you, but I think they were about 1.5 inches maybe. So see how I just kind of bring it around, and wrap as much silk wrapping as you feel like you want, right? Doesn't matter. If you want a lot of color to show, do a longer wrap. If you want less color to show, do a shorter wrap. I'm going to stop my wrap right there. Go through the loop. Through the loop, I said. There we go. And with my hand still on that wrap, see how I pull it? I need to neaten that one out, pull it again, do this in little spurts so that now here's the magic moment. See when it's going to come underneath? See where that loop is? I'm going to just pull, 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 and that connection pops under the wrap, just like that. Okay? Then you can kind of pull them both at the same time, like so, and then you're ready to go. Okay? And if your center section bows up a little bit, that's okay too. Doesn't matter. Okay? Now I'm going to clip this away.
We had our first question about you know who.
Oh, about Alfred.
Naughty.
About Naughty Pants. We'll probably get the kitty out here
He's
at
not
the
naughty.
end. He's chock full of naughty, that kitten.
He's taking a nap because he was
He
so busy this morning.
He was so busy. He was busy kitty. So can you see there? Now this is ready for your next section. And this measures, I don't know, I'll tell you, a little over an inch. Inch and a half. It's about what that open section does. Okay? So then, to finish up, what I did was I laddered I alternated the turritella and the copper rose 4 millimeters, and then I just came down. I used a little 8 millimeter at the end. I silk wrapped here, measured for my button, and then tied a knot at the end. Simple. So it wasn't too terribly
and
difficult.
surgeon's knots on the ends on your.
I did.
It looks really
that
good.
doubled.
Yeah.
I did. And I want to show you guys for this one, if I'm setting up for laddering for my infinity stitch, I want to show you how I do this, and then we'll switch over to Karen's real quick, because there are some things I want to show you on Karen's. So I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to cut this away. I thought I was all prepared, but I actually wasn't. So I'm going to cut this away here. And I'm just going to cut it away by using my old school thread snips, just clipping one thread there, and then I can unwrap it. What I want to do, and Emily, what I'm going to have you do for me, if you would,
Sure.
is get my seal-on. There it is, my micro seal-on. And could you, I use the collapsible eye needle with it. Would you thread that needle doubled and give me about maybe 2 feet, 2.5 feet, doubled over. Okay. So let me get this together, and I want to show you how I am buried that laddering thread, infinity laddering thread, underneath for macrameing.
You know, Janice and I had a conversation about that last week, and I know Allie Morey had come up with this sort of idea of macrameing in the needle, right? Is that what you were going to do?
I am going to do that.
You know, I used to do that, but you can also just macrame in a loop of thread and use that as a needle too.
To pull it through.
Yeah, sort of like the silk wrap.
Like the silk wrap.
Not
Yeah,
unlike
that would
it.
work really well.
You know, I was also really impressed with how Janice
Thank you.
uses this thread to start in the macrame. How you use both threads macrame with them. That was also a game changer for me.
Right, when you macrame with the long end and the short end. This, I'm going to do macrame with the seal-on, and I'm going to macrame this underneath it.
Did you know that tray is perfectly cat-sized?
I did know. I did
See
know.
also
Okay.
Alfie's Instagram.
Yes,
That's
check
right.
out Alfie's Instagram.
Yes,
He was modeling one yesterday.
Alfred T. Pickles. It's true. You can follow him on Insta. So I'm going to have all of this in there, okay? All of this, and it's kind of hard to see this gray thread on gray thread. But
Do you want me to get a different color?
No, it'll be all right. I think I'm just
How
gonna.
about this? You have this teal right here.
I do. I don't know. What do you think?
I think we should pick a
Switch
different
it.
color.
Okay.
I do.
Let's do it.
I think it would be
Okay.
so much.
We're gonna switch up the color here, you guys.
So much easier to see. Why?
Okay.
Why make ourselves crazy?
Okay.
Or
I'm going to get this ready to go with my macrame. It's ready. And I've got a needle. Okay. So now, this obviously is a contrasting thread color, but you'll be able to see this. So I'm gonna kind of underneath where this clip is here, I'm also gonna clip this up here just so it's holding my thread all together. Okay, so everything's there. All right. And I'm gonna have this here. See my needle? I'm going to clip all this down here. And again, I could use a plastic baggie to keep all this together, but I'm going to, for speed, I'm going to do that. So can you see how I have this all rigged up? Thread is clamped down here, thread is clamped down here, needle is clamped, and now I'm going to just macrame real quick like. So I'm going to start on the right side and macrame, make my loop, and go under all of this stuff, up through the loop, and tighten that up. Notice how, you guys, I'm macrameing with the needle over the needle. And you're like, what the heck is she doing? If you haven't seen me do this before, Em, do you think you could, I don't know, maybe I can just keep moving my hand out of the way. I'm sorry, you guys, that my hand is kind of blocking, but I'll move it out of the way so you guys will be able to see it. There we go, and I'm just going back and forth with my P and my Q, and I'm going to macrame a few stitches here so it really holds up nicely. But again, this could be, you guys, a silk wrap. I could silk wrap and get the needle underneath as well, right? It doesn't make much difference what you choose to hold these things down. But I don't know, I'm having a macrame moment right now, I guess.
I kind of had the feeling I needed to make a plant hanger.
At least I don't have that feeling, but I'm glad you do.
You know, I have this nice patio and some plants hanging around, and it was like, oh,
you know,
dear.
growing up we had one. We had this Mexican pot. My mom will remember. It was like this blue Mexican pot. And I have no idea where my gran found this plant hanger. I feel like maybe one of my granddad's students made it for him. And so we had that sucker hanging in our living room, I think, till like 1992. Probably.
Well, I'm going to hang it outside.
Yeah.
So,
No, it was part of our beautiful decor. It was amazing. You know, my gran was eclectic.
I remember making my grandmother a macrame plant hanger, and it was all hemp and weird. And
right, hemp and weird.
I remember her looking at it and going,
So
oh.
Lovely.
She was not a hempy type person.
So,
sure.
You guys, you want to make sure, in my haste about this, I see how one of these strands is coming outside here and one of these strands is coming through the middle. It's not the end of the world that's happening. I will just kind of maybe macrame one more or two more stitches over the top of it to kind of rein in where I want the thread to go, because this is my laddering thread, so I don't want it to be split. I want it to be together, right? So in my haste, there we go. So see how that's kind of tamed it. I'm going to give it one more knot to kind of, to bring it over, because you know who's the boss of that thread?
You are.
Me. So now it's time to end all of this up. So I'm going to kind of push this thread out of the way and clip it on my board so it's nice and tight. But now this is where the magic happens, kids, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to bring this needle kind of up here. And can you see how I'm going to thread one end through? I want to leave a little bit of slack here. The other end is going through, and they can go in the same direction or different direction. It doesn't really make much of a difference. But now, watch what happens. Sometimes I have trouble gripping this needle, so I'll use my chain nose pliers for this part, and I'm going to unclamp this so you guys can really see here. See how I pull the needle? It's pulling underneath my macrame and down. I kind of have to put my thumb there, but I'll move my thumb in just a second. See how that needle's pulling through? And it's taking the tails of my macrame thread with it. Can you see that? I know, head explodes. Our Bead Table member, Ali Mori, this is one of her little tips, and I'll tell you what, it was
Genius.
so clever. So I'm going to pull all of this through, all of that through, and all of that one through, and those ends of my macrame are buried in there. Okay?
And Janice is curious if you would have normally started the macrame a little higher.
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to let that fuss me too much. This loop might be slightly big, but let's cut away this extra and let's see what it looks like. We don't want our button flopping around there too much, so maybe just a little bit higher would be okay. You could also have put like a bead with a big hold bead underneath there. Not too large of a bead, but it could come together and then you could start your macrame. It might be a little long, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Then, now I'm ready to do my infinity stitch, okay? So I'm going to bring this in, pull this together, there we go, clamp this on this side, and I'm just going to do a couple of infinity stitches. We have infinity stitch till the cows have come home, but see how I'm bringing my thread over to the side here, and my needle is here, right? And the infinity stitch, what the infinity stitch is it's like a figure eight. We're doing the infinity, right? So all you guys need to do is you come in, I'm going to put my bead on, and to set this first stitch in motion, I'm going to come underneath my cords here. I'm going to open those cords up, and obviously my cord would be gray and not this blue, but see how I just push it right into place underneath there. Okay, and this is an 8mm, not 8mm, 8/0 seed bead, and again I want that little triangle of air right at the top. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over my leather here. I don't want my hand to be in the way, but
I just want to hold on to this so it doesn't
yeah,
go.
so it doesn't go flying.
Right.
I'm going to go through.
And this is just one of our garden variety size 8/0 metal beads.
Sorry, you guys, I'm struggling a little bit because it's far from my field of vision. But you can see I've gone back through with this needle. It works just fine. I'm going to go all the way through. I've created my first stitch. Now, always when we do our infinity stitching or any first stitch in a laddering project, I go through my first stitches twice, or my first bead twice. So I'm going to come back through. Okay, back through here. And again, I'm going to pull it a little closer to me. Sorry, you guys, it's kind of out of my field of vision, so I have to kind of peer at it a little bit to get it through there. But you can see there it is, and it's through. Tighten, and see how I'm using this thread doubled under the thread, or under the leather rather, under the leather, and back through the bead. And then I'll move my hand so you guys can see what's going on. Again, this 8/0 is such a big bead, has such a big bead hole, that all of this comes through.
Yep.
Can you see that there? And I'm going to come through. All right. Now I'm ready to start my next infinity. I pop my thread under on the inside. And how many beads am I going to add now, Emily? Because I want to taper up. Yep, I'm going to add 2. Okay.
I was going to bring Karen's in because she did that exactly same idea.
Exactly right there.
On her laddering. And this is with the bronze metallic 8s. So that's a glass bead and a glass bead. So the rondelles and the size 8/0 bronze glass bead.
It really looks nice. And then I'm going to come in over the side here. See that there? And I go under my leather. As you can see, under the leather. Like that. Can you see how it's gone under? Now what do, Emily Miller?
You're going to go back through both the beads.
Right, back through both the beads, because now my thread is going to go over. Let me get it through and I'll move my hand so you guys can see what's going on. kind of keep it tight. These first few stitches, they make you just want to, I don't know, tear out your hair, right?
You know, when I do
So-
seed beading, I always think that the first 2 or 3 rows are kind of like a wet cat. It's
Yeah.
a cat that's just had a bath.
Right.
You know, it's sort of ugly and funky and a little bit loose.
My
and a
cat
little
is
bit-
beautiful when you give him a bath.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. They don't look the way they're supposed to.
No,
look,
they don't.
You know, and that's what I really mean. Is
Yeah.
that it doesn't quite look right. Most of the time, tighten everything up and just keep going.
Yeah.
If
So
if
see, like
things are
here,
falling
see
into
how
place,
things are kind of loosey-goosey?
Yeah.
All I need to do is just really deliberately and with deliberate
Thought.
motion and thought, tighten that up. Now what do I do with this thread, Em?
under.
Under the leather. That's exactly right, you guys. Because if I didn't put it under the leather and I put my beads on, I'd miss corralling it around.
That's right.
So I need to go under the leather and up and over. Now I'm ready to add 2 beads or 3 beads or whatever it is I need. So I want to show you how Karen did this real quick, and I have this set up. She started hers a little bit differently, and I thought it was terribly clever of her. So I'm going to hand all of this over to you, Em.
Okay.
And she just knotted her piece on. And of course, I was trying to be ready. But of course I tied a knot and I didn't need to. So can you go ahead and do that for me?
Sure.
Put that in the thread. What Karen did was Karen
She included it in her.
we're going to tie it into the knot, but she only used a single strand of the micro seal-on to ladder. She didn't double hers over.
Okay.
And the reason Karen did it was that our surfer cord is really light, this 1 millimeter, okay? And this micro seal-on really grabs onto that surfer cord. And the micro seal-on will double up as it goes through the bead. So it's double through the bead.
Right, because every time
single
you
on
go,
the sides.
you're going to go through each bead twice. So you have double thread even so. What you were doing before actually was quadruple thread.
Right, exactly.
4 threads in
it's
each
a
one.
lot of thread.
Right.
Yeah.
And the beginning one 6. So
So it had a lot
Or
going
8.
on. So what Karen did was she has her laddering thread here. You guys see that? Laddering thread. I line everything up together. Is this right, Karen? She's coming over to check.
I'm sure you're doing
Checking on me. Right? And I'm just going to tie this into that knot, right?
Yeah.
Yep, all right. I've got the Karen stamp of approval.
You get started so many different ways.
There is so many different ways, but this is a really you
This
can
is
just
super
flip.
smart.
I can flip the knot and the button and the thread right through there. Or you could go the opposite way, and we could just Karen. Remember, Karen used teal, so it blended in a lot better. But see that you could also put a dot of glue in there.
I love this idea. I mean, to me,
Right?
this means that you're doing it all in one step.
Yeah, and look at how fast. I
Yeah.
mean, come on. That's
Let's
why
get
Karen's
going,
the
right?
queen of speed. Karen, get over here. Karen's like standing there hovering in the shadows. Karen, come on over here. She can't take it because I'm doing her piece. She's probably thinking like, well, that's great, Kate, you laddered on yours, but when are you getting to mine? So that's in there, right? And so now, Care, what we did was, for your first section, you just did straight rondelles, right, back and forth, and they fit those rondelles. You guys can see how nicely they fit.
Well, and
And
to
then with
gild
this,
the lily a little
show
bit.
this one because I'm going to get those ready.
To gild the lily a little more, on the last section, if I
What
can
am I
have the
doing?
tweezers,
Tweezers,
thank
yes,
you,
yes,
because my
madam.
big fingers.
Tweezers.
So Karen set up a nice little pattern where she had 2 8s and a rondelle, a 5 millimeter rondelle, and then 3 rondelles, 2, 1, 2, 3. A really nice little pattern.
Kind of meandering pattern.
Kind
to
of a
it, right?
meandering pattern, and it's nice. Those 8/aught beads are just about the same as the 5 millimeter rondelle, but they're a little tiny bit bigger. And I like how she kept it just sort of loose so that the sides don't go in and out. I really like that a lot.
And then you can see, I'm going to move my hand in just a second, but we start this exactly the same way. I'm laddering with this, right, Karen, with this single strand. And I'm using the same needle, the collapsible eye needle, and I've pushed my bead underneath And now I'm going back through and up, and we're going to go through this top one twice times, right? So we go under. Emily, I'm going to have you just scoot that out there so I don't. So much pressure. Karen's hovering over my arm.
I'm sorry.
No, do it. Hover, Karen. I want to make sure this is right. I'm just teasing you.
I always think of it like looming without the
loom.
without the extra.
Yeah, you just have two major warp threads.
Yeah.
And so, Karen, now that I have you here, when you were switching these out with the rondelles, how did you figure out how many to use?
I usually line them up next to each other before I put it on, just to see if they equal about the same.
The same length?
I don't care for, I'm picky.
That wavy gravy, that
I don't
in and
really
out.
like that look.
Wavy look.
Except for the Padre section. But
well, because that really relates to the wavy beads, right?
Yeah, but with beads like this, I like them to kind of just be uniform, same width, so there's not that much gap in between the beads. So I usually line them up like on a piece of paper just to see.
Right, you could use head pins even to line them up. So now I'm going to put on 2. Sorry, my thread's getting a little tangled here. So now I'm going to go for 2 beads, right? So let me do 2. And that 2 is what I think was the right width, right, for these rondelles. And so this is just going to come in.
I don't want to be hover mom.
No, hover. I love it when you hover, Karen. I love it. I'm just giving her a hard time. Underneath. No, I need you to be here for the Tahoe portion, because I'm going to do that right next.
That's my fun.
Okay. So see here, and we're going to go underneath, and we are going to tighten this up and put it into place. So it's exactly the same as I was laddering before. Now, if I were to add some Tahoes, Karen, into here for the laddering, let's free a few of these up. I just want to show you. Oh, thanks. We've got a few right there.
Yeah.
Then
those are the short ones. Those are short beads. They should work.
Yeah, and so, obviously this is deviating from Karen's pattern a little bit, but I just wanted to show you how when you were laddering, Karen, what it seemed to me was just kind of like what Emily does when she's auditioning her seed beads. You can kind of put them on the needle and see what looks right.
Yep.
So if I want another round of like 2, maybe I'd look at these 2 and I'd see how they look.
You just put them underneath and see how they're going to sit.
See how they sit. So you can see here how it just comes in between. Let me put this needle underneath, and then you guys can see how they sit, like Karen was saying.
Well, I think the Padres really have
there we go.
Quite a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And if
so
we can see
there?
the width of this one and the diameter and the width of this one. So Karen was calling these thin, short.
Short.
Short. So the ones that are not as wide on the hole-to-hole side,
there it
as
goes.
short, and then you can pair them up. I think you could even do several of the shorts to equal one of the taller.
And if you didn't want to do a needle, I could stiffen this with Zap, right, Kara? I could.
Yep.
But you use the needle. You like using the needle.
I do.
And then I've managed to get myself a little bit of a knot here. Nice one, Richburg. For the Emily, do you want to pull in the section with the Padres that has the crimp tubes around the sides?
Yeah.
Let's look at that. I know there's so much information in these 2 pieces, you guys, but you could also, I'm really excited to see if you guys make like a mashup of this project. It would be kind of cool to see what you guys use. But it's actually this section right here, right? So Karen, when you came in to add these guys, you had been finished, right?
Yeah, I was done.
You were done. You were so done.
I was like, okay, this project is done. I'm ready to do the next thing. It was an afterthought when Myra said, it's too plain. And I had extra crimp covers left. I was like, well, how can I incorporate these?
So do you mind if I put a crimp cover on
Sure,
here?
go ahead.
So essentially what you did was you just had it here, and you threw on the crimp cover around. I'm going to see if you guys can see this. You found a space
It's kind
in
of like adding a jump
between.
ring.
Yeah, like adding a jump ring, exactly. You found a space where the laddering. Sorry, I've got to get to my field of vision again.
You need chainers.
But see, right, I've got it right here.
Yep.
And see, I put it right around the side of my cord, right? And did you build in any slack? Because this was an afterthought, so you didn't really.
No, it was just, I think with how the Padres are shaped and size, I just, wherever the bracelet allowed for me to put them, I kind of just...
You just did, right? So now I'm just going to come in. And look, I am crazy for this. I love it. That's it. You just closed it around. It's beautiful. Okay. And so now, let's take a look. We're going to finalize this section. We're going to bring it home with this final Tahoe. So this isn't an exact Tahoe, Karen, right? It's kind of your take on it. So, but we also have kind of a special, let me get this out of the way. We have a special way that you put these on, right?
Very special.
Very special. So first, we're just going to, remember how what I did was I silk wrapped all my 3 pieces together. Karen went the classic Tahoe way and just used, I just had one in my hand, but I've lost it.
It's over there near the
With this transition, right? So you did these 2 strands. And again, I'm doing these all on buttons. So they're like individual bracelets, but you would just transition from one section to the other. And I dropped that other cord. Do you see it right there? I dropped.
I do. Hold on.
I can't quite reach it. I'm sorry.
You should have Alfie go into the
Sorry, right? I could just cut another length. There's another length
No,
sitting
I
right
got you
there.
right here.
You got my
I got your
length
back,
right there.
Jack.
Okay, thank you. So now, as we just put this in to get it ready, I'm going to put that 3rd strand right in the middle, and I'm going to slide that transition down over it, slide it up, and now I'm just going to crimp it, right? And again, we need some air so that our crimp holds on, right? See that there, like that? Am I in range, Bran?
Got it now.
Poor Brandon is taking photos and
Multitasking.
filming at the same time. So we've got this. So there you go. Okay, so see that? And now let's just clip that sucker away. Yeah, everyone loves the crimp tubes, Karen. Everyone is
That was
so...
Emily's idea.
picking
I was
up.
going around in circles trying to figure out, should I glue the beads down? Would that be too hard? Emily said, why don't you try using a crimp cover? And we just had an aha moment.
Well,
Right.
you know, have you ever strung a necklace on soft flex, and in your attempt to leave enough air, left too much air,
Right.
right, where you have a little bit of string material showing, that's where you slip in a crimp cover.
Right. Because it takes up
no
that
one
slack.
would know, it would be like,
No one's the wiser.
no one's the wiser.
Really smart.
Perfect.
You're so wise, Emily Miller.
The crimp covers are,
You're kind
to
of a
me,
godsend
they are
sometimes, right?
the ice, not even the icing on the cake, they're the candles on the cake
Right? They're
Oh,
so
yeah.
good.
of crimping.
I like
'Cause
that. Candles on the cake.
I don't love how crimped beads look.
There's that little end. Karen, you cut that end. That's this guy. So
But
let's...
if I cover a crimp with a crimp cover, I like it so much better.
so much more.
Yeah.
Yep. So Karen, of course, never likes to take the easy path on things, which is why our photos look so good. She's like, I'm going to take this photo 12 times, and then she's going to take it 12 more to make it look perfect. Same thing with these Padres. Now take a look at these Padres. They all kind of have different holes, and this is going to be an exercise in kind of learning how to fit things, okay? So if I just took this 1 millimeter surfer cord and I just picked up a random Padre, some of them just fit,
Some of them,
right?
you're lucky, yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm going to pick this one up, and oh, look, that one fits. I need to find one. Karen's all, thank you, Jesus, it worked. No, it's a good one. So let's get this one here. Oh, look, I'm having a little more of an issue here, Care, right? So what you did was you came up with this great way of fraying and adding the needle. Is that right? So I'm going to attempt to do what you do, okay? I'm going to
Yeah.
fray this. Tell me if I'm doing this right.
You're
I'm going
right.
to fray it. And I can even fray it a little more. And Karen, you also tried like gluing the frayed end.
Yeah. The glue, it made it just too hard. It wouldn't go through at all.
Right.
And I also,
So it kept it from collapsing at all.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then
Interesting.
once it's on there, the cord just kind of folds on itself, so it's not stiff, it's not stuck. There's a lot of movement. But to begin with, I cut more cord than I needed because you're gonna go snip, snip.
Right, it's
So,
you're
yeah.
gonna straighten those bangs.
And
Yeah.
you also, right, are you talking about me? How
No.
I cut my own bangs?
I'm not talking
in the
at all
mirror.
about you. I had my mother used to cut my bangs, and they got shorter and shorter because she
Yeah.
kept trying to make them more and more even.
That's why my bangs are so short, because
Yeah.
I like to cut them myself. But I like it. So you made kind of like a little taper,
I kind
right?
of wet it just to,
Yeah.
my grandma always wet your cord to make it.
Right. I'm going to dip it in my water. There we go. Look at that. There we go. All right. So then I get my needle, right, Kara?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a needle floating around here somewhere. I know it's right here. And then, since that little end is kind of feathered out, the ends should just fold down, right?
They should. So like I said, I look for the short padres if I can. That way
Okay.
there's less.
Like this
less
one, maybe,
bead. Yeah.
to get through. So I'm going to go through this short, fat padre.
And you kind of just want it at the very tip of the cord if you can.
Almost.
Yeah.
Very tip. When you say very tip, you mean the very tip, like
because you
that,
just
right?
need enough of it to go through.
Yeah, see that? See how they're just...
Yeah.
Yes! Karen! I'm going to do that again. I'm going to get this back through. Maybe I need a little more of a taper.
Yeah.
But it's a really clever way of trying to finagle beads on. So see, right there at the tip. And see, this collapsible eye needle really holds that fray, right? So I put it on, and I just kind of wiggle. Let's see, it's not quite close enough to the end. When Karen means go to the end, Kate, she means
Yeah.
go to the end. So see there, I'm at the end, and there it goes through. It pops right through.
And sometimes you have to go back and cut. And
Cut a little bit,
and
yeah.
cut,
But see, look at that, you guys.
And it
So
moves.
it's getting right on there. So now let's look at Karen's section that she did. See how she just came in. There's a crimp cover. So what you did, to my recollection, you strung all these beads first, and then you put the crimp covers on, right?
Yep.
So you strung like 2, 4, like 6, 2, 5, 6, 7. So you strung a bunch, then separated them out. Did you crimp this side? Did you crimp both transitions?
Did I?
I mean,
yes,
you could.
I did.
Yeah.
You could, but I
You
think I
did.
yeah.
So they're all kind of corralled in, and then Karen just separated them out and put the crimp covers right over them. Right? People are loving it. They're loving it, loving it.
I want to do a section with just this in the.
I think it
the
looks really
tubes.
amazing. And I love how you doubled it, right? And so you added tubes in one and then just the padres on the other. I think they look great. But that little trick of fraying and pull the frayed end through your padre, so perfect. So perfect.
Well, that's me.
All right.
Find the
Looks
difficult way.
good. Karen, do you wanna pull a chair in and sit in the middle?
Come back.
I think, you guys, we have we exhausted our possibilities? I think we have. Oh my gosh, we've done so much already. So I'm going to hand this camera back to Brandon while we pull ourselves back together here. Bran, here's the camera. And let's get Karen into position here.
I could just sit on the stool.
Here. No, sit down, or whatever.
I was thinking the stool might be a little high.
It might be a little high. Get that out of the way.
Look who I found.
There's a
Naughty
naughty kitty.
Can you make it? No. Hold on.
Let's get Karen through there. There we go. I'm going to move out. Karen will come in. There we go.
He was taking a nap in that basket.
Was he in the basket?
Yeah.
There we are. There we all are.
Nice and cozy.
All right, here we are.
He's about to see himself on the screen for the first
he's
time.
looking at the computer like he's so... Here, let's scoot him in a little bit closer to Mama Karen, too. There he is.
Karen was one of the first people to take care
That's
of Alfie.
right.
Yeah.
Karen had Alfie for a few days, and
Hi.
He just wants to chew.
he does.
He's
Here,
now it's chewing.
let's
It's chew
give him,
time.
give him this Kleenex.
Yeah.
Here, chew on that, you little monster. Mama's little monster. There he is. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you guys had what a great.
Really, I
Project.
love the one on the surfer
Yeah.
floor. It's really good.
It was so good, Alfred. You're being such a good boy. Well, we have Karen. I'm going to have you hold this one.
Okay.
So
Not
we
for
will
you.
wrap. Not for you, young man. We will. No, hey, now.
For you.
You, Karen. You. I mean, Emily. You control those pop. Get that kitten. Get that kitten a drink.
A thing.
Right.
Give him an arm to chew
Right.
on.
Give him an arm. So today is the 13th of June already. Wednesday, June 13th. We have a sale all day today. It went out in your newsletters this morning.
Typo.
Since
14th.
oh.
That's
Thank
my,
you.
my
Oh.
mistake, you guys.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
that's okay. So let me try it again. Take two. Today is Wednesday, June 14th, and it went out in your newsletter. See, it's like it never happened. And it went out in your newsletters today. We're doing a check and stone sale. All check and stone beads are 25% off because Karen and I use so many check and stone beads in this project. All you need to do is add KK25 to your order and we'll knock 25% off of those. That playing kitten is just, it's hilarious. Give him that Kleenex. I'm afraid he's going to gnaw your hand
No, he's
off,
okay.
Emily.
He's doing
All right.
fine. When he bit my
He's
chin
very-
last week, it was like,
Yeah,
"Ow."
yeah, but he's learned. That kitten, he's learning every day.
He is.
We also have a really cool project. So, Emily, I'm going to have you trade the cat
It really
for
is
the
the
project.
13th actually today.
Is it really?
Is it the 13th?
Today.
No, is it? I'm
is.
just a mess. What was
It's
I
okay.
thinking?
So let me try it again. Today is Wednesday, June 13th. We've got a cat, we've got Karen, but what I want to say is KK25 goes until tonight at midnight. So if you want to get all of our discounts and stuff, you guys just sign up for our newsletter and they will, you'll get them all there. So trade that cat for our giveaway.
All right.
We're not going to give away Alfred, but we've got two
Oh my
things.
gosh.
We've got a raffle today, and I'm going to put this down for a second, and hand me one of those bags. There we go.
I love these.
These
so
are so
much.
fun, right? We're not going to put Alfred in them, but
Sorry.
we got these great bags, these totes from Bead and Button, the Bead and Button Show. We've got two of them, so we're going to raffle off two in the next hour. If you make, right now it's about 5 after 12 on Wednesday, June 13th. If you make an order between now and about an hour from now, our time, 1 p.m., 1:10 p.m. Pacific time, we'll put your name in for the raffle. And we've got two bags. We're going to choose two winners. This one that says Bead and Button Show. And we're going to add, these haven't even been seen yet, you guys.
They have been seen on our Instagram.
They
page.
have on our
Oh.
Insta. So these, we're getting a new Padre collection, you guys, in. And so we're going to give you 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. These are also ones that Karen and I picked out. These were actually Karen's baby. You found these beautiful guys here. So we'll give you a collection of our new Padres that are coming out in a couple of weeks in this Bead and Button bag. We'll just put those in right now. And we've got
These
two
are
to give away.
huge long strands.
Yeah,
They're
really
super
great.
exciting.
Alfie will chew on your bag a little bit. And if you put Padres, please, in your episode notes or in your shipping notes, we will enter you into the new product sneak peek raffle. Right? Have we covered everything we could possibly cover?
I think so.
I think so. Oh
I
my
just wanna
gosh!
play with this
Here,
kitten.
have him
He's
chew on the coupon
mostly
code.
chewing on the basket.
All right, that's good.
Because
All
he
right.
can't figure out that my hand's outside.
Yeah, the little naughty pants. You're riling him up.
He's
So-
really he woke up
That's
with
my
a
boy.
bit of
That's
energy.
my boy. Oh my God, he's so entertaining. We love him. So, just to let you guys know, Free Chip Friday, there's no Free Chip Friday this week. I'm taking a little hiatus. I'm going to be on a little bit of a break, but I will be back on Wednesday. What are we doing Wednesday?
We're doing some.
Stars of Wisdom.
No,
Yeah.
that's leather and pearls.
Oh, so Leather and Pearls is
Yeah.
next week.
I think
Really?
so.
Yeah.
Leather and pearls. I think so.
I think so. We're gonna check it. Yeah, it's leather and
Pearls.
leather and pearls, and then stones of wisdom is.
So
the
you
week
don't even
after,
have to
I think.
entertain him. He'll chase
Right,
his own
he'll
tail.
chase his tail. So we've got some great things coming up for you on Facebook Live. We're going to get to lunch because we've got to clean this table. We've got to corral Alfred, feed him lunch. We've got so many things to do. And for winners for last week, we'll go ahead and I want to announce those real quick. It was our raffle winner for Thanks Dad. It was Zoe H. and I don't know if I can pronounce this.
Heimdall?
Yeah, Zoe Heimdall and Legia Aravalo were our two winners from last weekend from Thanks Dad. So we'll have two winners for this raffle as well. All right, Alfred, you've stolen the show. You know, what did W.C. Field say? He would never act with kids or animals. I think that guy was right. No,
Look
I'm
at
just
that
kidding.
baby.
What a good boy. All right, you guys, thanks so much for joining us. We'll skip Free Tip Friday this week, and Emily and I will be back next week with another great project. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good
and
fun.
you, and Brandon.
Thanks for coming back
And
from
Janice.
Milwaukee. I know you wanted to stay
My
there.
foot, I did. I
Yeah.
like Milwaukee. It's all right.
It's all right.
It's good times.
Those 3 or 4 blocks right around
All
the show.
That's right. Good times.
Thank you for having
All right.
me on.
No, you did a great job, Emily. I was going to say
Yeah,
Emily.
I'm not
Who are you?
Emily.
Karen, thanks so
Karen.
much. I think Karen's debut was amazing. I think you're getting a lot of love for your project, and we can't wait to see what else you're going to come up with.
Yeah.
Right? This won't be your last Facebook Live.
This
will it?
this had me. I had dreams about this last night.
you-
I was
can you
a
wave?
little nervous.
Can you wave goodbye?
But you did a great job.
Go.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and your project is
Okay.
great. All right, kids, we can't wait to see what you do. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
for coming by.
Bye. Get that kitty.
He's just so cute.
Get that.
So cute. Oh no.
Oh.